as we now know, because of Edwin Hubble and many others, the universe is expanding very, very fast, has been ever since the original Big Bang, and the rate of expansion, which not even Hubble quite predicted, Lawrence Krauss worked this out a few years ago, is not slowing down, as Newtonians might have thought, it's increasing. The rate of the expansion is increasing, the redshift light. So very, very soon there won't even be any evidence in the cosmos that there ever was a Big Bang. Things will be flown so far apart. And in the meantime, and you can see it in the night sky, the Andromeda Galaxy is headed directly towards ours, as it has been doing since long before we could think about such things. So very soon, what something we have will be replaced by a whole lot of nothing. So who designed that? What divine father arranged that for us? What caring person who watches over bedsides and gives people hope designed things that way? I ask you. There's only one way to grow up, and it is to stop believing that there is either a tyrannical or a benign parent who's looking out for you. In my opinion, that tyranny would be much worse if it was benign, but you have your choice.
Michael wanted to do this sitting down, but it's the old demagogue in me. I need the pulpit, I need the podium, and if I can't be erect, at least I can be upright. The stuff that's in the Ten Commandments, Dinesh, that isn't to do with human morality, is often highly immoral. For example, it's forbidden even to covet other people's goods or achievements. And by the way, among their goods are included their wives, their womenfolk, who are lumped in with chattel, which goes to show that these commandments are created by men and not by gods. They're created by the agricultural and masculine values of the time. It's not a small point. But there's nothing, for example, to condemn the abuse of children. There's only a vague demand that parents be respected. After all, this is coming from, apparently, a father. There's nothing against racism. There's nothing against slavery. There's nothing against genocide. Partly because in these and ensuing chapters, all those things, racism, genocide, slavery, are actually going to be not just recommended, but enjoined, made an actual injunction on the children of Israel. They're going to be told to do these things. So it seems to me very obvious that what is known as religious morality is partly man-made, and it shows. It shows that it's made by a greedy and cruel, partly evolved, fairly highly evolved, let's not run ourselves down too much, primate species that turns out on examination to be, as we now know, 1/2 chromosome away from a chimpanzee.
Well, I say the diversity of religious belief is not mysterious if you assume that God is made by man. It's only mysterious if you think that man is made by God. Yeah. Like worrying about why tsunamis kill good people. This is not a problem if you think that we live on a cooling planet with a disturbed weather system. That just will happen, doesn't require any explanation. Nothing to pray over, nothing to why about. Nothing to have a sob fest on CNN about. This question answers itself. It's only a mystery if you don't know that we live on a planet with a cooling crust and a turbulent climate system, and you think, well, maybe God decides at what point weather takes people out.
I get this all the time. Don't judge religion by its fundamentalists and its extremists. No, why should I? I don't have to. I judge it by its foundational texts, and I judge it by the statements of its authorities. Take a case from the Quran, just for once. Actually, it's not the Quran, excuse me. Take a case from the Muslim foundational documents, the Hadith, which have equal canonical authority. They say, if someone becomes an apostate, leaves or changes their religion, they must be killed. The sentence is death. Don't anyone be telling me that's a metaphor. No, it's just intended as a sort of general admonition. No, it means what it says, and it's been applied to a couple of people who now have to live, friends of mine, as a matter of fact, as political refugees in Washington, D.C., who know how true the impact of that hadith. There's no wiggle room there, so the question for a Muslim must be asked. Do you think this is the word of God, or don't you? Because if you don't, you're saying that God shouldn't be able to tell you to do an evil thing, and if you do, you're saying he should. In either case, faith falls as a reinforcement of ordinary morality.
The idea that the laws of nature can be suspended in your favor if you make the right propitiations is a lie. Dinesh points out what a lie it is. Einstein says how marvelous it is. The great thing about the universe is its laws never are suspended.
They are never suspended. They do operate according to a beauty, a logic, and a symmetry that we don't quite yet understand. We're getting to understand them better. Dinesh points it out rather intelligently to you. What does Christianity say? Those laws can be suspended. And in your favor, too, if you make the right prayers and propitiations and sacrifices. There can be, a virgin can conceive, a dead body can walk again, your leprosy can be cured, the blind can see. Nonsense. It's not moral to lie to children. It's not moral to lie to ignorant, uneducated people and to tell them that if they will only believe nonsense, they can be saved. It's immoral.
I think it's very important to distinguish the numinous from the supernatural or the superstitious. The numinous, or you might want to say the transcendent. For example, I'll make it quick. I wrote a book about the Parthenon, a building I can't tire of. There are so many ways of looking at it, from the outside, from the inside, its measurements, its symmetries, the stories told by its mutilated sculpture, the interiority and the exteriority of it, its positioning in the ancient world. Really, a good person interested in aesthetics could give a life to the study of the thing. But I have no conviction at all about the cult of Pallas Athena, which inspired its being built. I don't think the cult of Pallas Athena was a valid religion. I don't think it. I think it was a man-made cult. I have no belief that the Eleusinian mysteries held any real mystery. I think it was a piece of priestcraft. I'm sorry to say that it looks very likely as if two of the stories on the frieze actually are about a human sacrifice to propitiate a bad god. And I think Athenian imperialism in respect of not just Sparta, but the Delian and Melian islands was a terrible tyranny. Nonetheless, could not be without that temple. So one of the great cultural and aesthetic tasks, I think, is separating the numinous, the transcendent, the beautiful, and the aesthetic from the superstitious and from the supernatural, which is a dimension that doesn't exist and that we don't need and that can't help us.